If we want a livable climate for future generations, we need to slow, stop, and reverse the rise in global temperatures. To do that, we need to stop burning fossil fuels for energy. To do that, we need to generate lots of carbon-free electricity and get as many of our energy uses as possible, including transportation and industry, hooked up to the electricity grid. Electrify everything. We need a greener grid. But that's not all. The highly digital modern world also demands a more reliable grid, capable of providing high-quality power to facilities like hospitals or data centers, where even brief brownouts can cost money or lives. The biggest, cheapest sources of carbon-free power, wind and solar, are variable, which means that they come and go on nature's schedule, not ours. They ramp up and down with the weather, so integrating them into the grid while maintaining and improving reliability means finding clever ways to balance out their swings. Finally, recent blackouts in the wake of Hurricanes Irma and Maria highlight the need for a more resilient grid, one that can get back up and running quickly, at least for essential sites after a disaster or attack. It's a triple challenge we need, all at once: a greener, more reliable, more resilient electricity grid. But hark! Lo! There is a technology, or a set of technologies, that promises one day to be a triple solution, to address all three of the grid's needs at once. We speak of the humble microgrid. Technically, a grid is any combination of power sources, power users, wires to connect them, and some sort of control system to operate it all. Microgrid just means a small, freestanding grid. It can consist of several buildings, one small building sometimes called a nanogrid, or even one person, a picogrid with a backpack solar panel, an iPhone, and some headphones. The research firm GTM counts 1,900 basic and advanced, operational and planned microgrids in the US, with the market expected to grow quickly. Most microgrids today are basic, one-generator affairs, but more complex microgrids popping up all over. There's a cool one in Brooklyn, a cool one on Alcatraz Island, and the coolest one of all in Sonoma, California. Microgrids also play a big role in plans to rebuild Puerto Rico's grid. Let's take a quick tour of microgrids and their potential. Off-grid microgrids to extend power to the poor. Some microgrids stand on their own, apart from any larger grid, often in remote rural areas. These off-grid microgrids are a relatively cheap and quick way to secure some access to power for people who now lack it, often more quickly than large, centralized grids can be extended. Grid-connected microgrids can island from the larger grid. Most microgrids, especially in wealthier nations, are grid-connected. They are embedded inside a bigger grid, like any other utility customer. All the examples cited above fit this build. What makes the microgrid a microgrid is that it can flip a switch or switches and island itself from its parent grid in the event of a blackout. This enables it to provide those connected to it with at least temporary backup power. Again, most actually existing microgrids are extremely basic. Think of a hospital with a diesel generator in the basement, or a big industrial facility with a combined heat and power (CHP) facility on site that can provide some heat and power during a blackout. Microgrids are only at the very front edge of their potential. Microgrids won't be a core part of the clean energy transition until they serve all three grid needs: greener, more reliable, more resilient. Right now, most microgrids around the world rely on diesel generators, which are polluting and loud, so they're not very green. In the US, the primary sources are CHP and natural gas. They only turn on once the grid is down, so they don't help with day-to-day reliability. Of the three grid needs, most serve only resilience, and only for those lucky enough to be connected to one. As basic as most of them are today, microgrids hold great promise for the future. Technology is rapidly expanding the possibilities. Electricity used is becoming more controllable and adaptable, as every system and appliance learns to communicate over the internet. Small-scale and community-scale electricity generators are getting cheaper, cleaner, and more diverse. They now include solar panels, small-scale wind, efficient natural gas generators and fuel cells, CHP, and more. Solar panels, in particular, have become super cheap. Energy storage is also becoming cheaper and more diverse, from various kinds of batteries and fuel cells to thermal storage and hot water or ice. The Stone Edge Farm microgrid in Sonoma boasts 5 separate forms of storage. Every bit of new storage helps to smooth out the variations in solar and wind, allowing more to be absorbed. Software, AI, and machine learning are enabling intelligent integration of all these diverse resources. Smart